Hello and welcome to Frank's School, 39th day of this third year. There's one video following this one, and it's of the Arboretum at Lisbon Botanical Garden, the Arboretum. An arboretum is a planting of trees for the purpose of studying trees. Well, this video that's coming is long. It might be 20 minutes long. It might only be 15, I'm not sure. It's long, but it's okay with me. And I rather hope for you too. I say very little. I guess I say something, but I'm not sure. I mostly just go through the garden and I film, and I'm more careful than usual to not move my camera so much. There's textures to see. There's shapes to see. There's all kinds of shades of green to see. And there's children to hear. I'll get to that in a minute. But the water is almost turned off. There is falling water in the botanical garden, the Arboretum. And as I do say something at one point, I would love to see that when it was coming on strong, say after a real strong storm or the right time of year. But it's almost shut off. There's lots of little dams. If you look, I often film where the water runs or would be running. And you'll see little dams about that high. And imagine them full and making little tiny waterfalls coming down through there. I'm sure it's beautiful, but it's beautiful anyway. Back to the children now. You hear children in the background a lot, way more than the sound of the city. I had thought that you would hear the sound of Lisbon much more than you do. But I had also said that Lisbon is a fairly quiet city. I mean, this is a working day. This is a Monday. But what you hear mostly is the children and their sense of delight and wonder as they see the trees and they see the flowers and they have a good time. What a good thing to hear in an arboretum or a botanical garden. There's a butterfly house there, but it was closed. I would have gone in had it been open, but it was closed that particular day. This was a Monday, and I guess it's maybe more like a museum. Museums tend to be closed in much of Europe, Monday or Tuesday, or both. It makes me think, I should go back to the zoo. I was to the zoo, the Lisbon Zoo, one time in my life. I think it was the second time. It might have been the first time. Maybe I was there twice. But I loved it. There was a time in my life where when I started to travel that I thought I'll just go to zoos. So everywhere I go, I'll go to zoos. Because you go to a zoo and there you not only are in a foreign country with the language and all, but you see families and children. The real people. You don't normally see that many tourists in zoos. You see families going out to enjoy themselves. So I've let that go for quite a while. I haven't been to too many zoos, but maybe I'll start again. Yeah, I would have more to say about that too, as far as maybe thinking, oh, those poor animals in cages. I think in zoos, those animals should be thought of as ambassadors to the human race. Ambassadors, just. But that was a digression. Back to the children now. The recorder. You're going to hear a recorder. It sounds like a flute. At first, you don't know where it's coming from, but you'll see that it's one of the teachers walking along playing the recorder, and she plays it very well. And it's almost like the Pied Piper in a way. That's not a long shot, but I hope you go that far. Now, in Lisbon, there are estufas. An estufa is I've never been in one that was only, I don't think, that was only an estufa. It's a greenhouse. A greenhouse for beauty's sake, not necessarily for study. And that's something else that I should probably go to. I'm sure that there are at least two important estufas in Lisbon. Now, I had said yesterday, I think, that the first time I went to the Botanical Garden, I was not that impressed. I remember it as being in disrepair. This was in 1970, I think. But it occurs to me, maybe I didn't see the whole garden. Maybe I didn't go down into that arboretum. I could have just neglected to do that, because you go down these stairs and the arboretum is a whole other world down there. Anyway, I'm a big fan of it now. Plants in Portugal. This has been dawning on me again and again, and I've read it. The climate of Portugal being almost subtropical, normally plenty of rainfall, it's ideal for growing a wide collection of plants. And Portugal has known that for a long time. And so there'll be these places like the Botanical Garden. And in Sintra, well, and also in Busaco, those trees that had blown over. I had said that Busaco had been a study, really, in how many exotic trees could be brought there to grow. And in Sintra, there are places like that too, where the rich people that lived there made it a point to gather exotic plants. Well, when I put all this stuff together, I get this feeling that I'm going to be going back to Lisbon. I don't know when. I know I won't go alone. I'm not going to travel alone. I don't like cities in general, but I've been quite confident that at some point I would go back to Portugal. But I thought, well, maybe northern Portugal, or Porto, as it is in English, and maybe skip Lisbon. But I don't think so. I have a feeling I'm going to be going back to Lisbon. Think about it. Maybe you want to come along. All right. I hope you enjoy this. This would be a good one to just put on and kick back and just watch, especially if you like plants. See you next time.